Here we go. Hillary Clinton is back, and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are now set to appear side by side for the very first time since the former First Lady suspended her campaign. Clinton will be asking her top donors, the people who gave her so much money, to share some of that wealth with Senator Obama. Now, this is a key sign of growing cooperation, the most that we've seen between the two camps. Lanny Davis is a Fox News contributor and a former White House counsel to President Clinton, and he joins us. He is invited to that Clinton-Obama meeting. Lanny, good to see you. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, my first question to you, you said earlier today that you believe that the appointment of Patty Solis Doyle to Barack Obama's camp, that she's going to be leading, she's going to be the head of the Vice President's Chief of Staff, is a good sign for Hillary Clinton. Why did you say that?
Well, first of all, every poll still indicates that she's the only possible vice presidential candidate that lifts Barack Obama's totals over 50% of the national electorate. That's a very significant fact, since most vice presidential candidates don't affect the presidential race whatsoever. So she still is the strongest candidate. Secondly, she trusts and knows Patty for years.
But I've heard, Lanny, that they haven't spoken since she was fired from the campaign. Is that not true?
It is not true, and the media creates its own fiction and then makes it fact by repeating it. She and Patty are still very close, and anybody that blames Patty Solis Doyle for an outcome in which Hillary Clinton received 18 million votes is still not quite focused on reality. No, their relationship is still good, and if Hillary becomes the vice presidential candidate, she'll be comfortable with Patty. If it's somebody else, it shows that Barack Obama is reaching out to someone who played a significant role, and that's a good thing.
But, you know, just to dwell on this for one more question, Lanny, you know, it's very unusual at this stage in a campaign to choose someone to be a vice presidential chief of staff and to make that known. So in my mind, it's either a stick in the eye to Hillary Clinton or it means she's got the job.
It's neither. It shows that the Obama campaign is planning ahead, and that Patty Solis Doyle is not only a terrific person and a great political operative, but she also has connections and relationships in the Hispanic community, and they're planning ahead. It does strike me as a little bit early to make that decision.
To make that specific title is what I'm getting at.
It's a little bit early, but it's certainly not a stick in the eye, nor does it necessarily imply that Senator Clinton will be the vice presidential candidate. I make the argument that she's the strongest candidate, and the data supports me. But this is Barack Obama's personal decision, and whatever decision he makes, Democrats are going to support him for president.
All right, Lanny, stick around if you would. Let's bring in our panel today. And joining me is Ralph Reed. He's here at the table with me. He's a Republican strategist, worked on 7 presidential campaigns. He's also the author of the new book, The Dark Horse, which I have here. You want to hold it up? There you go. There's Ralph's new book. Bob Beckel's a Democratic strategist. He was Walter Mondale's campaign manager in the bid for the 1984 White House. And Suzanne Smalley is a national correspondent with Newsweek. Bob, you know, Get into this with me for a moment. This Patty Solis Doyle thing has still sort of got my mind wrapped around this idea that you appoint someone to be the chief of staff for the vice president who used to work for your opposition candidate.
Yeah, I got to give Lanny, I'll tell you, Lanny Davis is a great contribution in addition to our team here. I'll say this, and the other thing about him is he can always make a situation that looks a little bit grimmer to me, for example, a brighter thing. I'll tell you, first of all, it is unusual to pick somebody for being the vice president's chief of staff. I've done that before, but it's within a week of the time we picked the vice president. And the other thing is that no matter how good she may be or have been, the fact is that the reaction among people was that she and Hillary Clinton had not seen eye to eye on some things. So I would consider it either one or the other, just like you said, the same reaction I had, Martha. I think it's either that she's got this thing.
She's got the job, or it's a real stick in the eye.
Yeah, right.
I agree. Suzanne, you know, what do you make of this big meeting that's going to happen at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington? Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton next week on the 26th, they're going to get together, and she's going to say, let me introduce you to Mr. Moneybags and Mrs. Moneybags, right?
Well, several donors were reportedly not happy when they heard about Patty Solis Doyle being selected for this job, and also felt like their concerns weren't heard by the Obama campaign last week. So Senator Clinton has found that she's going to need to be there to help smooth things over and get some of this money rolling toward her former competitor.
All right, before I get to Ralph, I just want to reference, see the middle box. This is one of the cool things that we're trying to do here, and it's working very well at the moment, so I want to show you. This is John McCain's plane. This is in action. This is our photographer who's on the plane right now, Scott, and he is shooting John McCain on his campaign plane as he is flying across the country, and we're able to bring it to you live, which is pretty incredible. Ralph, while we're looking at that, tell us what you think about this big meeting with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and the fundraisers.
Well, look, it's important. It's critical for Barack Obama that he unite the party, that he bring the Hillary Clinton supporters, donors, bundlers, and key staff and advisors into the boat. If he doesn't do that and he goes into the general with hurt feelings, you could have a replay of Carter Kennedy in 1980, Ford Reagan in 76. Historically, Martha, if you look at it, the party that has the bitterest and the most divisive primary process loses in the general. I'm not saying that'll be the case this time, but if you don't unite, it's a problem in the fall.
You know, but Bob Beckel, I'm looking at some of those numbers today that we saw, and it's just one set of numbers. We have our own Fox polls coming out tomorrow, but Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida all leaning in that poll towards Barack Obama. So if I'm Barack Obama, I'm thinking maybe I don't need Hillary Clinton.
Well, I don't know about that. I'd be a little careful because I do an awful lot of polling every week, Martha. And by the way, the stuff that I've been doing comports with this. This has been really only been 1 week, but since Barack Obama has had McCain man-to-man without Hillary Clinton being in the picture. And then you're seeing the movement in the polls. You're seeing that. But she certainly does add to his totals when she's put on a poll with him, and other people do not yet. Now, that doesn't mean that she's the ideal candidate, and probably may not be the ideal candidate, but she certainly can move some voters. And if I were John McCain, I'd look at those Florida numbers, and you're going to see numbers coming out that are going to confirm that. I'd be very, very worried.
Suzanne, you follow these candidates, and you've traveled with them and spent time with them. Do you think, from what you're hearing, that Hillary Clinton's heart is in supporting Barack Obama? Because that's a big question here.
Yeah, she has been nowhere to be found,
Right.
And I think it's been very hard for her. We actually did a story in Newsweek a couple weeks ago about the depression that sets in after the campaign, and about how she even had to basically be forced off the stage by Charlie Rangel, who had been her strongest supporter. She wanted to delay getting out until the week after she actually did. I think that it's increasingly in it as she realizes that, you know, she's not going to be the nominee, and that it really is important for a Democrat to get the nomination in her mind, but it's not easy to make that shift from attacking someone to going and fighting for them and convincing your donors to work with them.
It's really not that complicated. If she's on the ticket, she's hoping he wins. If she's not on the ticket, she's hoping he loses. Yeah. It's that simple, no matter what anybody says.
All right,
Lanny Davis. That's cynical, Ralph.
A quick piece of reality here.
Go ahead, Lanny.
The media gets kind of silly, like she was pushed off the stage because she wanted to wait a week, as if a week is a long time. The same way the media got all hyped up because she wanted to wait till the last primary in June. Oh my God, that's so late. Let's face it, she had a vacation. She is for Barack Obama. And I'll be at the meeting next week. There are lots of things that Barack Obama needs to do, needs to talk about to people who are for Hillary Clinton. But Ralph, the fact is that our party is more united than it's ever been on issues. I can't think of an issue that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama disagree on. 1968, where we disagreed on the Vietnam War, 1972, that was a major fissure in our party. And Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford, as you remember, divided the conservatives from the moderates in the Republican Party. Here we have two candidates who agree on every major issue, starting with the Supreme Court.
Lanny, I'm going to let you get the last word on that, although I know everybody wants to jump in. We're going to have to do it next time around. Bob Beckel, thank you very much, Bob. Thank you, Lanny. Thank you, Ralph. And the book is called The Dark Horse. It's called Dark Horse. Very good book.
Yes.
And also Suzanne Smalley. Thank you, Suzanne. And let me send it right back down to Trace.